Hi, I'm Becky McGurra. I'm the president and CEO of Nashville PBS, but I also serve on the PBS Board of Directors nationally.
I was looking at your career and your student years, and I feel like you've been like a trailblazer in many ways throughout your journey. Um, so I was wondering, what have been like some more difficult moments in your journey, and how have you navigated them?
Wow, that's a great question. So, I think the hardest thing that I'm experiencing right now is the defunding of public broadcasting. I've had a lot of challenges in my career. I've had a long career in public broadcasting, and I love it. I never one day felt like I had to go to work. I've had a lot of varieties of roles, from teaching to engagement to producing. Now I'm the CEO. And so I really know that I'm only as good as our team, and I have such a talented team and such a dedicated board and community. But right now, there's a narrative about public broadcasting that is not true to who we are and how we operate on a local level. And I think that's been the most painful piece for me, and one that I have to constantly remind myself that I know the truth and I have to exemplify the truth, and I need to stay positive. And I have to constantly have an opportunity to share this message and the importance of public broadcasting every chance I can, because we live in a siloed environment right now. So I think that's been one of my greatest challenges. The second greatest challenge is just it's often difficult to create media because it takes money, but thankfully technology has helped that, and people are able to shoot with a camera or can create content even directly on their phone with editing. And that has enabled us to share stories in a much more engaging and quicker way. So I love what I do, and I hope that there'll be a whole generation of young people who will want to become pubcasters.
How has the Tennessee PBS handled the rise in social media and disinformation?
Yeah, so in Tennessee, and I'll speak directly about Nashville PBS because that's where I am, but I also came from a rural PBS station not far from here. I think social media is difficult because, again, it will often share things about your station or the work we do as PBS that is not accurate. And so it's difficult to try to get in a battle on a social media site, because I often think that just engages bad behavior. And I'm not interested in that. What I want is for you to know the truth. So instead of trying to react to that comment, I think most of my colleagues, we take our own sites and post the truth. And we try to make sure, now if it's a really heinous quote or something, we'll address it right there. But for the most part, we're more about let's share our information in a way that is, we know it to be truthful and accurate. And then we try to get as many people as we can to share that to their sites. But we need more help of doing that, because I do think we live in a very siloed, negative social engagement kind of atmosphere.
Last question. From, I guess, which part of your whether it's memory or part of your life, do you draw the most strength from?
Well, I think I draw the most strength from the fact that I met Mr. Rogers. I had a chance to spend time with Fred Rogers, just a small amount. But I remember in doing so, he's so kind. And his series, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which now Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is really equivalent in an animated form. It gave me strength that here was this man, this genuinely good man, who used television for good. And he was one of the first to show the importance of being empathetic and kind and caring and understanding that children could be afraid, and how as adults we have a responsibility to be there for them, but also to show them that when scary things happen, they need to look to the helpers. And so I think of Fred Rogers a lot. I think of our national leaders, Paula Kerger, who's president of PBS, and Pat Harrison, who's president of CPB. I think of them and the strength they've had to just hold the line and know that what we contribute to the American people is not irreplaceable, and it's important. And so in these really kind of difficult times, and sometimes dark times, Fred Rogers, and knowing that I can look to the helpers, and that includes people like you, makes a difference.
Thank you.